You know, I was growing up down in Puyallup. You know what show I loved? I loved the A-Team. It's probably why I love some of these Chalk Talks, because on the A-Team they always said, I love it when a good plan comes together. And there is no doubt over the course of this season, of all the Chalk Talks I've done, actually in a number of years, this is one of my favorites to evaluate and really dig into, because a really good plan came together in one of the biggest moments of the game. This is 3rd and 10, Sunday Night Football against Philadelphia. 6:50 left. This is after Philadelphia drove the length of the field. Carson Wentz fumbled. Seahawks get the ball back. They're up 10-3 at that point. This is the 10th play of the drive. They've had to convert third downs. They just crossed midfield. And actually, Russell had to burn a timeout. And I think that's pretty important in this overall story arc here, in this plan coming together, because they go to the sidelines. It's 3rd and 10. And this is where all the hours of work goes into just one play. They're over there on that sidelines, and they're trying to factor in what's Philadelphia going to do. 3rd and 10, what is their tendency? What do they like to do in these positions? And then ultimately, how do we go about beating that on 3rd and 10? You have a little extra time. It's not that 40-second play clock. You had a timeout. You can gather your wits a little bit. You hate to burn those timeouts in a close game in the second half, but this time it paid dividends because they came out and they made sure they had a cover zero beater. Philadelphia has shown in this down and distance, they love to bring more than you can block. They love to bring and leave people man on man. Why do defenses like to do that? They like to do it because they think it forces you to get the ball out of your hands. They're going to blitz everybody, so you throw to a flat route, or you throw a slant route, or you get the ball out of your hand, and they come up and they rally and they tackle and they get off the field. It's one of the things that obviously Jim Schwartz in Philadelphia had shown. So what did Pete, Tom Cable, Darrell Bevell, and Russell Wilson, what do? They say, okay, if they're going to bring that blitz, then we're going to make sure we protect enough, and we're not just going to throw a flat route or an out route. We're going to take our shots. So what the best ones do, it's what Brady and Breeze and Rodgers and what I watch Peyton Manning do. No, when they bring that blitz, they think they're going to win and attack us. We're going to attack them. And they made sure they had a plan in place. So they come out. And if you watch this from the very beginning, because they come out in the alignment, little bunch alignment, Jimmy Graham offset. So many good rub routes can be out of this. So Philadelphia's got to be prepared for that. Philadelphia's trying to disguise. They're trying to show a little 4-over-3, a little zone concept here, and not show their hand. But Russell Wilson does a fantastic job of dummy audible, a dummy cadence. So he can make sure, I'm going to see what kind of hand you're going to play. You're looking for the tell of your opponent. In that little double cadence, guess what Philadelphia showed? Oh, they showed that they were going to do this. Oh, and then they tried to back out, but Russell doesn't take too much time. He knows exactly what they're going to do. He signals his route, and as I understand it, there may be a few options that he can signal in that moment. He signals his route by tapping his helmet over here. He gives those guys a route. He quietly tells these guys the protection that they're going to max this thing up. And watch, and the other cool interaction in this is watch these two communicate. Because just as he communicates, these two communicate as well. And I'm sure that conversation was pretty simple. Is it still on? Yeah, we're still on. Okay, so even though they showed it, even though he diagnosed it, Philadelphia stuck with it. They didn't check out of it. They didn't get into a zone. Nope, they continued to run their very aggressive cover zero blitz. And that cover zero had a little bit of depth, so they wanted to make sure that they had depth in this blitz. It wasn't a press blitz and expecting fade routes. Nope, they kept their corners deep, and they wanted to make sure that they did their best to keep it in front, but you know what? They couldn't. So ultimately, they bring this cover zero blitz. You get pretty good protection here, and Justin Britt absolutely annihilates the safety. Hits him once, puts him on the ground, lands on him. Watch that one. That was an awesome block. You know who even had a better block? Ethan Posick, because he took two. These two came in this gap, and he stood his ground. Yeah, he had to backpedal a little bit, but he took on two. Mike Davis, does a decent job of kissing the D tackle. Good job by Fetty, and just enough by Jimmy Graham here. So all of this chaos is taken care of. You had your enough protection. Russell Wilson gets to 12 yards deep from the line of scrimmage. He knows what's coming. He knows he has exactly what he wants. All this is dead, and this now becomes about these three guys. Nickelback slid over. Paul Richardson bust tail. He trails him. Could Russell maybe hit him? Possibly, but this corner's going to come help, so Russell knows he's out. So then ultimately it's about two guys on 3rd and 10. And what does Russell want to do is he's dropping and gaining depth. Tyler Lockett's going to run that little slant route. Corner's going to jump it, and oh my gosh, did Doug Baldwin did he love what he saw here? 10 yards of cushion, and he hits at full speed. That nickel, he doesn't touch him. He comes over to cover Paul. I got 10 yards of space. Doug's running full speed. And you know what's amazing? At exactly 12 yards. Exactly 12 yards, he puts his foot in the ground and runs to the corner. Exactly 12 yards from the line of scrimmage, Russell Wilson throws the ball. He throws the ball 12 yards deep when Doug's at 12 yards. And I'm telling you, the amount of ground that this ball covered to get to its ultimate destination, he threw this before Doug was even out of his break. You could see Doug set it, and once he set it as a quarterback, I know the angle he's setting. He put so much air, so much touch, so much loft on that ball. Could not have thrown it any better. A perfect plan came together at just the right moment for the biggest play of the game.